All right, Rosh Chodesh Sameach. All right, Rosh Chodesh Sameach for the month of Harivi'i, the fourth month. Okay, the fourth month. All right, welcome to all of you that are watching and are participating with us on the live, as well as all 15 of you that are here in the room. I'm teasing. I know it gets a little bit tough. You know, everybody's out there trying to make a living and do the things they're doing, and then we get to, you know, a Tuesday night and having to get here. So, but anyway, welcome to our Rosh Chodesh service, our new moon service. Now, of course, we're doing this, you know, at the end of the new moon here because the sun is going to go down at the end of the day. We tend to do that in the summer. You know, we do it at the end of the first day, where in the winter we do it, you know, at the beginning of the first day. It's based on when the sundown is to make it sort of a doable thing. All right. So that being said, so what we're going to be doing here, order of service-wise, is we're going to do our Rosh Chodesh service, which is about not even maybe 10, 12 minutes. It's not very long as far as the liturgical sort of, you know, family participation, we'll call it. The body is going to get together. We're going to kind of read from the screen. So if you're online, you can read along with us when the slides go up on the screen, and we can do the liturgy together. I will be doing the one slides or the one series of slides where I announce officially the new moon. And if you happen to read that with me, there is no penalty. Okay, but that's the one that's for me. And once we conclude that, I'll go over some announcements. There are some things I want to announce beyond our normal announcements, but I'll go quickly through some of our announcements. And then I hope to have, inspired by then, I have some ideas of what I want to say. In terms of something inspirational, we always go looking for something inspirational. But inspirational, not like you get from like Joel Osteen or some other whatever. But inspirational stuff about how you can deal with you and improve you and elevate you and level you up and understand you and all that kind of good stuff, right? Okay? Which is, I think, something somewhat unique to what we do, you know, at this ministry. Because I believe that's the whole reason we're here, is to come to the understanding of who and what we are and who and what he is, and then align them. And that means aligning you to him, not him to you. Lots of people throughout the ages have tried to align him to themselves, and that doesn't work very well, okay? All right, so if you'll all rise, we'll begin with our Rosh Chodesh service with the sounding of the silver trumpet. Amen. Amen. All right. We're going to have the slides come up on the screen, and we'll all read together. Psalm 51 and verse 15. Yahweh sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Yahweh, open my lips that my mouth declare your praise. May the expressions of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart find favor before you, Yahweh, my rock and my redeemer. Numbers 10:10. Also in the day of your gladness, and in your appointed times, and in the beginnings of your months, you shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your Elohim. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. Kedushat Levinah, the sanctification of the new moon. O Yahweh, our Elohim, and Elohim of our fathers, make this coming month one of good and blessing. Grant us long life, a life of peace, of good, of blessing, of sustenance, of vigor. A life marked by a reverence for you and a dread of sin. A life free from shame and reproach, a life of prosperity and honor. A life in which love of the living Torah and the fear of Elohim animates us. A life in which our heartfelt desires are fulfilled for good. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, Amen. Amen. He who performed miracles for our fathers and liberated them from slavery to freedom. May he quickly liberate us and gather our exiles from the four corners of the earth, and let us say, Amen. All right, the new moon of the month of Harivi'i is today. May it prove to be good and fruitful for all 12 tribes of Israel. Some of you may be a little confused why we called it Harivi'i, because others would be calling it Tammuz, and we kind of prefer not to. So it simply means the fourth month, right? May the set-apart one, blessed be he, grant this Rosh Chodesh to us and to all his people, for life and peace, for gladness and joy, for deliverance and consolation, and let us say, Amen. All right, together. Blessed, praised, glorified, honored, and exalted be the name of the King of Kings, the set-apart one. Blessed be he, who is the first and the last, and beside him there is no Elohim. Extol him in the heavens. Yahweh is his name. Rejoice before his face. His name is honored beyond all blessing and praise. Blessed be his name, whose glorious kingdom is forever. Let the name of Yahweh be blessed forever and ever. From Isaiah 66, verses 22 and 23. For as the new heavens and the new earth that I make stand before me, declares Yahweh, so your seed and your name shall stand. And it shall be that from Rosh Chodesh to Rosh Chodesh, and from Shabbat to Shabbat, all flesh shall come to worship before me, declares Yahweh. All right, Rosh Chodesh Sameach. All right, you may be seated. All right, so first I want to just go over in case we have some new people, and there will be some new announcements for some of you that are here all the time, ignoring my announcements all the other time, so you get to hear some new ones to ignore. Okay, so first of all, welcome to all of our guests. If you're watching online and you're a guest, we want you to be welcome. We do have a team that's monitoring the chat. Please give them respect and their authority in the chat. All right. So we do offer a few things for you guys. Now, none of this is for sale. I know a lot of ministries like to have their infomercial in the middle of their service. Okay, this is just to let you know the things that we provide, okay? There's nothing to buy here. All right, we have Shabbat services every Shabbat, okay, 1 o'clock. Okay, so we have a live service that we stream right here on YouTube every Shabbat at 1:15. Actually, we go live with the chat and with some slides of announcements and some clips of some of the praise music and some maybe clips from the teachings at 1 o'clock. And then 1:15, we sound the shofar and go live. This is on YouTube and Rumble. Okay, and also at MTOI.org, you can hit the Join Us Live tab. Okay, we also stream on Fridays, our Torah studies. Okay, so every Friday. All right. And the Torah study starts at 7:30. So we go through a weekly cycle, a one-year cycle that goes from Genesis to Deuteronomy. So we go through all of the first 5 books of the scriptures. Okay, right now we're in the book of Numbers. Now, then we have our YMTOI program, our youth program. Okay, fantastic program for the children. This program is designed and completely proprietary to us. We made this program, okay? We're not going out there just grabbing stuff from everywhere else and giving it back to you, regurgitating it, okay? My wife, Rebbetzin Julie, and her incredible team, put together this incredible program. Okay, now, it has its own website, okay, ymtoi.org, Young Messianic Torah Observer in Israel, ymtoi.org. It's called Parsha Pearls, this program, all right? We've got it broken down into 2 age groups. You have your gem seekers. We also call them Katan Aleph. Katan in Hebrew means little, okay? And we have a Katan Bet, which is a little bit bigger than little. Okay, so the Katan Aleph is your 5 to 8-year-olds, and then Katan Bet is 9 to 12, and then 13 plus is our Gadol, or our bigger kids, okay? And so this program is really designed for anybody of any age, quite frankly. All right, so on the website, you get a free PDF published every week, about 35 pages or so of each week's Torah portion, and everything in that PDF is that Torah portion specific. It's specific to that week's portion. Okay, that includes child-friendly stories and lessons from the Torah portion, lesson questions, Hebrew word studies. So in other words, we have some flashcards in there that you can print out to practice some of the Hebrew words that were used that were significant in that Torah portion. Memory verses, word searches, crossword puzzles, mazes, crafts, notebook pages, coloring pages, even a song and a snack, all related to that week's Torah portion. Okay, so that the children will engage with the material and enjoy the material and hopefully remember okay? So we give them all these different ways to interact with the Word, and they love it. So some of you are thinking, well, I don't know what to do with my children on Shabbat. Well, print this out. Make sure you got the materials that you need for the crafts and the different things that you need to do, or just print out some of the coloring pages, the crossword puzzles, word searches, whatever it is, and let them have fun. Let them go at it. Okay, use it in your homeschooling if you're giving them some sort of a word background or a covenant background, type of thing in their homeschooling. All right, so we give you this on Sunday, so you can have it for the whole week. All right, so the portion that we're going to do on Friday night here, we publish on Sunday the week before, right? That's Sunday before, all right? So that you can have it for the whole week, use it, like I said, again, for your Torah school. If you guys are in a different congregation and you guys want to use this in your congregation, go right ahead. It's free. It's yours. You can use it, all right? Okay, if you have any questions about this program, you can email us at parshapearls@mtoi.org, and Rebitz and Julie would be happy to answer your questions, okay? Now, we have a Parsha schedule, so you know which portion we're doing each week. Okay, and you can find this under the Resources tab on the MTOI.org website. All right, and that's just a PDF. Again, you can either look at it there on the site, or you can go ahead and download it and print it out for yourself. And we also have a program for the teens. Okay, we have a Torah Teens program. Okay, there, we can put that up there. There it is. Torah Teens program. So Rabbi Tom Mitchell, our Rabbi Emeritus, does a teaching class with the teenagers on Thursdays at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Okay, this is needing a Zoom link. We do this on Zoom, so it's TorahTime@mtoi.org, TorahTime@mtoi.org. Email us, and it's an autoresponder, and you'll get the link. Elder, we need to talk to Tommy or somebody to find out why some people, maybe that's a question for Bernard, are sending the link for the Zoom meetings, and they're just getting a spinning wheel. That link is not working right for everybody. It's working for some, but not for everybody. Okay. So we need to check that out. Okay, but this is for the Torah Time. You send an email to TorahTime@mtoi.org for the teen program. Now, that teen program is also now meeting on Saturdays during the teaching time, except on zone meeting weekends, okay? Every Shabbat after the chuppah blessing, okay, except when there's a zone 1 meeting happening that week, all right? So we just had that last week, so it'll be a couple of weeks till we get to the next one. Same link will be used for that class, okay? So we're going to be doing a live class here, and we'll have Zoom access for you guys that are not here, okay? So it's a wonderful program where the teenagers get to engage with the Word and with some leadership and engage with it at their level, okay? All right, Rabbi Tom does a great job. He's often assisted by Elder Billy, and they do a fantastic job. Okay, of course, he didn't do that the previous weeks when Elder was actually up here teaching, but still, fantastic program. Now, then we have audio scripture readings if you want to hear the word read, okay? Our own Shira Wendling did a fantastic job of reading everything from Genesis to Revelation in her own unique and very good narrative style, and so it's fantastic. So if you'd like to listen to it, it's on our website, again, under the Media tab. Okay, now when you're listening to the audio scripture reading, she also broke up the first 5 books by Torah portion. So you can listen to this week's Torah portion. Okay, now, where are we up to here? YouTube and Rumble offerings, okay? So we have the teachings that I do get broken up into smaller portions, as well as the full teachings get published on YouTube every day of the week, more or less, okay? So on Wednesdays, you get the full teaching. Now, that is not the teaching that necessarily just was the week before. We are several weeks behind because, obviously, during feasts and things, there are extra teachings that get done, okay? So these teachings are not going to be the most up-to-date, usually off by a couple of weeks. So if you watch Shabbat services, and let's say I'm doing part 10 of something on Shabbat services, okay, and you want to then next week hear part 11 is not going to get published. You're going to have to watch the live service archive, okay, the recording from the live service to get to part 11 right away. Otherwise, you might have to wait a couple of weeks, okay, because we're a few weeks behind. All right, on Thursdays, you get the afterburn from that teaching. The afterburn is the thoughts, questions, Q&A part of after I teach, or whoever's up here teaching, we give you an opportunity to say, hey, that thing that you said, did you mean this? Or does this make connection correct for what you said? Am I seeing this right? It's a way to interact with the teacher who just taught you to make sure you kind of received it the way they intended, which is very valuable, by the way, for us as teachers. That's why I started doing it, because I wanted the feedback instead of the the deer in the headlights face, after I taught, and I'm like, uh-oh, what did I just do to them? Now, after a few years, you guys don't make that face anymore. But in the beginning, you should have seen what it looked like. Okay, when I first started, and people were just like, what in the world just hit us? All right. Then Fridays, we have our In Focus. So an In Focus is a short video that was pulled out of a teaching that kind of stood alone or could stand alone and work as its own little mini teaching. Okay? And of course, a link would be there to the actual full teaching if you wanted to hear the whole teaching that it was pulled out of. But hey, maybe I went off on a little side trail and said something that, you know what, if you just pulled it out by itself, it's kind of does its own thing as well as it being part of a bigger teaching. So we have some of those. That could be from any teaching from at any point that we pull it out of. So those are not connected with that teaching necessarily from that week. Let's see. And then on Sunday, we have praise team sets from a previous Shabbat. So like I said, a previous Shabbat, not necessarily the previous Shabbat. Okay, but we're kind of keeping up with that to kind of get you some of those. So on Saturday mornings, when you're getting ready to go to Shabbat, that's what I do. I just pull that up and start listening to some of the praise music from the praise team from a previous Shabbat. All right, and then shorts are posted daily throughout the week. All right, and that's on YouTube as well as I believe we also still do this on TikTok. So Monday through Friday, you get some, 60 seconds or less little short things that provoke some humor or some thought or just provoke you, whatever they do, all right? And they're just things to kind of get you to want to get more, right? Or just at least make you think about something all day. Okay, so Marty does a great job of pulling these out. And again, those could be from any teaching. Usually the whole week is from one teaching, but it could be from whichever teaching they're up to at that point. All right, social media. All right, we got the MTOI is on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, okay? On Facebook, we're MTOI Worldwide. That's a page, not a group. We do have the group still. We're not deciding to use it. So if any of you have been trying to post in the group, we've not been looking at the group, even though we sort of got back a hold of it to some degree. I found that 99% of it is either A, just people saying Shabbat Shalom every week, or B, people who shouldn't be in the group posting things that don't belong in the group. Not much was of any use. And quite frankly, to really make it useful, there would need to be an interactive factor there that I don't have time for. We just, on the staff, just don't have the ability to be in there. We're already in so many places that to then have to interact. So the group doesn't really, so if you're in the group, just ignore the group, don't do anything with the group. We're not, doing anything with it. But MTOI Worldwide is our page. We post on that page, we give updates on that page, and so you have that. If you're trying to reach us through Messenger, not the best way to go about it. Brianna is checking Messenger every now and then, and maybe we'll pick up something there. Don't get mad at us if we're not responding to Messenger. You should be emailing us at admin@mtoi.org or calling the phone number, which is 423, right? That number, 423-250-3020. I mean, you got to just, we give you every way to reach us, okay? That is the best way to do it. Now, if you're international and you need to WhatsApp with us, go ahead and email us how we can reach you on WhatsApp, and we'll go ahead and call you on WhatsApp. All right? Okay, good. All right, and then, of course, on Instagram and on TikTok, we're MTOI_worldwide. All right, that's social media. By the way, we have our MTOI app. You know what? This is the thing I'm most excited about because it's the most useful, most functional, and the amount of people that have downloaded it gives me a better idea of how many people are actually interacting with us, We have over 50,000 people subscribed to us on YouTube, and a lot of them probably don't even pay any attention anymore. They subscribed years ago and whatever. But we have almost 10,000 downloads, 9,600 downloads now of the app. That's very impressive to me in terms of we're reaching some people, okay? So I'm impressed with how many people we're reaching. Now, you may have figured out that you can interact with people by sending them a message through the app. Please don't do this. And if it's brought to my attention, we will throw you off the app, or first at least tell you, please don't do this. Especially do not contact leadership this way. And the reason I say that is it's not that it's irritating, although I guess to some degree it is. I'm never going to see it. I'm not going to react to it. Neither is Elder or Rabbi Tom. And then you're going to get mad at us because you sent a message on the app and it never got responded to. it's not the right way to, to interact with us. So just don't do that. Now, again, guys, don't you be contacting any of the ladies if they didn't give you permission to do so. As a matter of fact, ladies, give nobody permission to do so. You want them to interact with you? Give them your email account. Give them your Instagram. Give them some other thing, okay? Don't use the app for that. All right. On the app as well, we do have messages posted on a regular basis. I did not post one tonight for the Rosh Chodesh, but you will get one Friday. So normally every Friday, we get a message from one of the leadership. Lately, it's been me, because when we moved buildings, I lost the whole folder with all the leaders' Shabbat messages. So as soon as I find that folder again, then I'll start posting everybody else's. But those are where we get some messages. It just keeps that system open in case I ever need to reach you guys. Some terrible world disaster is happening, and I might need to let you know something so I can reach everybody, okay? So you should have that with your notifications on so you get the notifications. Do we have the little presentation? There it is. So when you open the app, you tap on the account icon, scroll down to notifications, all right, and make sure that the general one is green. You really shouldn't see more than just the general. The only people that should see more than that would be the praise team, because we have a separate group for them, and so they would see 2 tabs, okay? All right. I may create a third one at some point for the leadership. I have to think about it. Okay. Now, zone meetings, all right, the zone meetings. So I realized early on that this whole ability to interact and answer questions was something that was missing in most ministries. Everybody had questions, and nobody really made time to answer them. So since we are international, we have a lot of people all over the world that interact with us, that are feeding on these teachings and that kind of stuff. They have a lot of questions too. And so I wanted to be available on Shabbat as their rabbi so they could ask me questions, okay? Now, of course, on the slide it says with Nasi, Steve Berkson. Well, Nasi is sort of the leader of the leaders. It's like, it means president or the presiding one. So in the Sanhedrin, that was the title for the one who was over the whole Sanhedrin, okay? And so since I'm the head over this whole thing called MTOI, that's a title that is appropriate for me. Okay, now, so I broke the world up into 3 ranges of time zones, okay? 3 ranges of time zones. Now, when you see the nations or countries listed on the screen, they are not the only ones in that range of time zones that we interact with. That's just naming a few of them, okay? So any other country in the same range of that the ones you see are, that would be in the same meeting. So these meetings are on Zoom, okay? They're on Zoom. You need a link to get into these meetings. The link is, again, an autoresponder email, zoom@mtoi.org, zoom@mtoi.org. And actually, you'll get 3 links, okay? You'll get 1 link for the zone meetings, for all 3 zones. You'll get another link for zone Shabbat services. We'll get to that later, as well for Zone 2 and Zone 3. So here we have Zone 3. Zone 3 is the furthest away. It's basically, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, the Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Fiji. We've had people in China. Okay, so anywhere, I think we have somebody in Vietnam. Okay, so anywhere that we have people in that range of time zones, you're all welcome to come to this meeting. Now, by the way, actually, all of you are welcome to come to all the meetings. Just the people who live in that zone will be the ones asking the questions. The rest of you will just be watching and learning and seeing and getting to know everybody, okay? But I do have a meeting for you wherever you live, so this is just maybe not the one for you unless you live in one of these places. That is going to be on a Friday night, usually the first weekend of the month. Okay, unless like last month I wasn't going to be around, so we pushed it a week. So Friday, July 3rd is the next one. It's at 10 p.m. Chattanooga time, okay? New York time, whatever you want to call East Coast time here in the States, 10 p.m., which means that where they are, it's going to be closer to 10 a.m. through 2 or 3 in the afternoon, because some places are as much as 17 hours ahead, okay? And so make a note of that. And then, of course, we have Zone 2. We do that Saturday morning. This would be moving a little closer to here. This is from all the way from the UK through Europe down to Africa, okay? As far going east as to Eastern Europe into parts of India, okay? So places that are between 5 or so hours to like 10 hours ahead of the time that we have here today, okay? And so that will be done at 10 a.m. Eastern Time in the morning on Saturday morning. The next one will be on July the 4th. All right? And then we have Zone 1. Okay? Zone 1 would be the U.S., Canada, South America, Central America, Mexico, any of the islands that are in that same range of hours of time zones. All right? And that is going to be also on Saturday, July 4th, but we do that in the spot where the teaching would normally be in our Shabbat service, which would be around 3:30 in the afternoon. Okay? And that zone meeting, because Zone 1 is our largest zone, we rotate between those on live stream and those locally getting to ask questions. And actually last month was the local people's chance, which was last week, and we didn't have, we had extra time after they asked their questions. We got to have some people that were on the live stream to be able to ask questions. But still, they were live streamers that live in Zone 1. Okay, live streamers that live in Zone 1. Okay? And so this one is for the live streamers. And this one, because it's for the live streamers, you're going to need your Zoom link, because we do a Zoom interaction, even though we're also streaming this on YouTube. So you still need the Zoom link, okay? Now, we'll explain more when we get to that meeting. Again, that'll be on July the 4th. Okay, let's see what else I've got here. Leadership meeting. Okay, the leadership meeting. We don't have a slide for this, but we just had our leadership meeting. We had 31 leaders in attendance. Okay, the next one will be on the 12th of July. Okay, July 12th will be the next leader meeting. Again, you guys don't need to know that necessarily in terms of, obviously, you're not going to be attending it as much as to pray. Ask the Father to lead and guide that meeting so that we can serve Him as effectively as we can. Okay? And that, look, if you have any issue with your leaders and you're not praying for your leaders, then shame on you. As a matter of fact, I would just say shut up. I don't know if that's too blunt. Because I think you have no business complaining about leadership and you don't pray for them. Why don't you talk to the only one that actually can influence them, the one who's in charge of them? Okay, you should be talking to the leadership's leadership, okay? Instead of talking to each other about them. I mean, you talk to your best friend, your buddy, whoever, what can they do about it? Well, they can whine about it like you do. Well, that's not going to function very well. All right, so let's not do that, but pray about it, right? Ask Abba to inspire the leadership to the needs of the body and be aware of the needs and to do what they can to serve those needs. All right, the next Rosh Chodesh will be July the 15th. All right, this is a Wednesday night. Okay, again, 7 o'clock, bring dessert. Okay, that's for Rosh Chodesh for the month of Av. Okay, month of Av. And then July the 19th is our congregational picnic and mikvah. Okay, we're excited about that, right? Some of you I had a long day today. I can't clap. Okay. But we have our congregational picnic and mikvah at Chester Frost Park in Hickson, Tennessee on that Sunday, okay? And so we'll be there probably sometime between 11 and 1, and usually we do the mikvah somewhere closer to about 1, 12, but somewhere between 12 and 1. I'll announce it when we get closer to it. All right. Then we have MTOI extensions. Okay, these are extension congregations. That's where these leaders came from that were in the leader meeting, okay? The leader meeting, by the way, just so you understand this, is for shamishes and up, right? Shamishes and extension leaders and elders and rabbis, okay? Within our group. And so we have extension congregations all around the world, and I'm going to list them for you here, okay? So in Zone 1, we've got one in Byron, Georgia, Baltimore, Maryland, Grand Island, Nebraska, Alamogordo, New Mexico, Urbana, Ohio, Houston and Odessa, Texas, and a regional coordinator in Canada. All right? We're going to skip the pictures because I'm making changes. Let's go to Zone 2. And actually from Zone 1, so just so you know, we own the buildings in Urbana and in Odessa. The rest of them are either meeting in the house or have started to move. A lot of them are moving outside the house to be more functional and visible in their communities. Okay? Zone 2. We start up in the UK. Go back to Zone 2, sorry. In the UK, so we've got a group that meets north and south of London. In the south, they're in Surrey. In the north, they're in Bicester. Now we have a new one in Germany, in Black Forest. Okay? And they had 3 gentlemen in the leader meeting, representing that new group. Okay? Then we go down to Africa, and we've started in Namibia. We've got one in Windhoek. Then in South Africa, we have 7 groups in South Africa. We got 3 in the Western Cape, okay, Somerset West, Sedgefield, and Oudtshoorn. We got 2 in the Northern Cape, okay, we've got Dar in Uppington, we've got 1 in Gauteng, which is Pretoria, and then 1 in Limpopo in Tzaneen. All right, Zone 3. Okay, in Zone 3, we've got a regional coordinator in Australia. Now, I had mentioned when we had 1 in Canada. We don't have a congregation in these 2 places, but we have men there that represent MTOI that are coordinating some of the things that still happen in those 2 countries, right? In New Zealand, we've got 2, 1 in Auckland and 1 in Wellington. There's both in the North Island. If you know, New Zealand's got a North and a South Island. And actually they're at opposite ends of that island, Auckland up in north and Wellington in the south of that island. The Auckland group meets once a month. The Wellington group meets every week. You know, one of the cool things about being in this ministry and the zone meetings and stuff for all of you, you're probably starting to learn where some things are in the world that you maybe didn't know too much about. Okay? It's really kind of cool. Like, I wouldn't have known that there was a North Island and a South Island, New Zealand, and which is which and what's what. Anyway, then we have the Philippines, which I don't know how many islands they have. It's hundreds. Okay? But we have 1 in Manila and 1 in Davao, or Davao. I'm trying to pronounce it that way. Okay, and they both meet every week, okay, and that's our Zone 3 groups. All right, now, what else do I want to talk about real quickly here? So the Zone 2 and 3 live Shabbats on Zoom, okay? So we wanted ultimately to be able to have a live Shabbat at the time appropriate for each zone, because when we do our Shabbat here, it's not very useful for Zone 2 or Zone 3. Okay, by the time we get to the teaching, it's 3:30 in the afternoon here. That's after 9 o'clock at night or much later in Zone 2, and it's all the way into early in the morning, 3 in the morning to 5 in the morning, whatever it is in Zone 3. It's not very functional. So in Zone 2, out of South Africa, out of the Cape Town area, which is where Somerset West is, okay, we stream at Erev Shabbat Friday nights at 6:15, Torah Study at 7:15, and Saturdays at 1. The link is also received, as I mentioned earlier, by the Zoom at MTOI.org. So you get 3 links in that email. It's an autoresponder, so please don't waste your time typing anything in there. We're never going to see it. It's just going to auto-respond to what you send in. Now, that being said, okay, the link that you have for the first link is for the zone meetings. The second one is for the Zone 2 Shabbats, which we're talking about now, and the third one will be for the Zone 3 Shabbats, okay? And those meetings are open to all of you. You don't have to live in the zone, you know, to go ahead and attend any of them, right? If you're awake and it's a good time for you to be in there, you can go ahead and check it out. Zone 3, okay, these are, when I said that, just remember, this is the time it is there. So you have to do the math based on where you are, right? Okay? You have to adjust. So these are all based on Manila in the Philippines. 7 o'clock Friday night, 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Okay, that's Manila in the Philippines. All right, so that's our international Zoom meetings. Okay, fantastic. All right, level up classes. All right, we're going to talk about this maybe a little bit during the little Rosh Chodesh message, but I want to encourage everybody to take the level up class. It's free. It covers the 7 areas of your life. It lays out a whole game plan to figure out where you are and then where you want to go and how to get there. Okay? What else could you possibly want in personal development in those 7 areas? There are worksheets that you can use to help you with doing all of those things. They're downloadable on the site, okay? So just go to mtoi.org under the resource tab, and there's a level up classes. Now, there are 3 classes. They're all the same. Each one has 6 sessions, all right? The difference really is that the last one, the one I did at Sukkot, those sessions are only an hour and a half long, so they don't have quite the content that the other ones that have 3 and 4 hour sessions has, okay? So please, you know, if all you did was Sukkot, go back and do either the first one or the second class, right? Because those first 2 classes in 2023 were much more extensive in the depth of the information simply because I had a lot more time, okay? So go make sure to do that. Wealth Development Club. Okay, we had a really good Wealth Development Club meeting this past Sunday. It was fantastic. We had a lot of people share what they've been up to and what they've been doing and what they've learned and that kind of a thing. So we talked about this in the leadership meeting, And the next meeting, by the way, is to be determined. I haven't picked a date for it yet, but we'll do it again on a Sunday as far as the local Wealth Development Club. But there seems to be a desire to have a Zone 3 and a Zone 1 and 2 beyond just local wealth development, okay? So we're going to do that, all right? So I figured that the Zone 3 should be on a Saturday night, about 10 o'clock at night, our time, so that for Zone 3, it's 10 in the morning or later where they are, okay? So 10 in the morning we are on Sunday. So I would do our service, we'll have our own egg, then I'll go home and I'll get set up and I'll do the Zone 3 wealth development. And then Zone 1 and 2, okay, we'll be doing that at 11 o'clock in the morning, okay, and everybody's welcome to attend any of these if you could be awake to do it, all right? And these will all be on Zoom. They'll all be in the Zone meeting link, okay? Just like you go to a Zone meeting, we'll use the same link, okay? And that will be on a Sunday morning. Now, my plan right now is to do this so I can have at least a week to announce it, to do this Saturday night, the 27th, okay, that's a week from Saturday, and Sunday, the 28th, all right? Okay, so actually, what time is that? What time is that? Anybody here know what time that wedding is? The wedding is at 2. So that really won't work, probably. All right, so I'll have to figure out when to do the Zone 1 and 2. Well, if I make it a little bit earlier, we could do it. Because then I could just go from 10 to 12, and then I'll have plenty of time to get to the 2 o'clock wedding. All right, so we might make that at 10. But just pay attention, because I want to just get this done soon, because I keep putting it off, and I really want to get it done soon, okay? So we're going to try to get that done. Now, bear in mind, it's not Shabbat. I can talk about these things. Bear in mind, this is part of what I want to get into today also. Wealth development is something you don't do when you're in I can't even pay my bills mode. There are things you have to do first, okay? I've got people struggling to pay their bills, and they're trying to figure out how to do investments. I said, let's figure out how to pay your bills first. Oh, but I got 3 months, put aside. I could use that money. No, it's for what you put it aside for. There's a reason why all personal finance people teach you to have your debt handled. $1,000, I think you probably need $1,500 or $2,000 these days. Everything's more expensive. Emergency fund, and 3 to 6 months of expenses put away. Because as soon as you go and take your money that should have been there and you put it into some investment, your refrigerator is going to break, your car is going to need an overhaul in its transmission, or something that costs you $1,000, and now what are you going to do? Okay? So let's not come running to this program until you actually can do it. It will still exist when you get there. And if you don't like it, good. Let that be motivation to fix your problem. Okay? As a matter of fact, one of the things I want you to do as part of this Rosh Chodesh is to get angry. I want you to get really frustrated and angry with your situation to motivate you to fix it, to change it. Because if you're kind of complacent about it, you're never going to do anything about it. Okay? Some of you who saw the movie Network know what it means to be mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. That guy had had enough. Right? Mr. Beale, right? He was the anchor man on the news. And he had just finally hit his limit. You have to hit your limit or nothing changes. Okay? You are in life where you are because it's the level you tolerate. Okay? You will always drop to the level of toleration. So if you want to be higher, don't tolerate where you are now. It has to become intolerable or you will stay there. Well, I kind of like to go higher. Yeah, but I tolerate this. No, this has to be intolerable or you're not going to move. Okay? I'm the procrastinator who did my papers the last night before, minute, or the first, even the morning before it was due. Because at that point, it became completely intolerable not to do it. But it was tolerable to not do it up to that point. You understand? And this is actually a really good example of what I want to get into in the Rosh Chodesh. Let me just finish this first. Okay? So Wealth Development Club, because some of you struggle to tithe because your finances are all jacked up. Forget about just paying your bills. Everybody suddenly struggle to tithe and you'd like to tithe. All of these things are fixable by fixing your income. And income, by the way, in most of the free world, there are some places where it's a little challenging. We have some members that live in places that's going to be a little tough. But especially if you're here in the U.S., there is no reason you can't fix your income. Okay, there just isn't. I mean, unless you're elderly enough where there's just, not much you can do. But I mean, for anybody, let's say, 50 and under, there really is no reason. Is that a good age, you think? Billy's nodding his elders. I mean, I don't see any reason why you can't fix your income, okay? Now, I didn't say it'd be easy. It may be intolerable, and that's why you won't do it, because you won't tolerate what it takes to fix it. Because to you, it's going to be more than you can handle. But it's still fixable, all right? Now, then the next thing I want to tell you is Sukkot registration's coming soon. Actively working on it right now. Okay, Sukkot is a Saturday to a Saturday, so we're going to start Friday with registration. Everybody showing up, checking in, okay? And we'll do an Erev Shabbat dinner that night. Then we'll have Shabbat services in the first holy day. We'll have the Shemini Atzeret. It will also be a Shabbat, okay? What that means is there's no Saturday in the middle with the two holy days. They're going to be actually Shabbats, which means that I have more days to give you more stuff, okay? Now it's just a matter of figuring out what to fill that with. Okay, so we have lots of time to do things during the event. All right, so Sukkot is coming soon. I intend to get that done here very quickly. I've already been speaking with Elder Rebbitzin, Shamash, Uncle Bob about the meals and stuff, so we're getting this all worked out here very quickly. Oh, and my daughter, who has a lot of ideas about, the activity schedule, as our social media director, and just, she's got enough yellow for everybody, so she wants you guys to have fun, okay? All right. And then, of course, reception and marketplace are still at the other building. We are still getting more furniture here, and we will be hopefully moving that stuff over soon. All right. So what do I want to talk about? Okay, I want to talk about that you guys, and this is coming from counseling, okay? I'm not outing anybody I talked to this week. This is every week, okay? I don't see... First of all, let's start with nice. You can do this, okay? I say this every Rosh Chodesh. You can do this. Well, how do you know, Rabbi? Because he wouldn't call you to it if you couldn't do it. And he certainly wouldn't have put you in front of this loud mouth if what I'm saying was something you couldn't do. He gave me to you as a teacher because what I say you can do. Does that make any sense? All right? So you can do this. Now, here's the problem. You don't have enough urgency to do it. It's something you keep putting off. It's something you're tolerating. Well, the state you're in currently is the level that you're at is too tolerable. You're okay. How you doing? I'm all right. We don't want to fix all right. There's nothing that drives us to fix I'm okay. All right? When things get bad enough, we want to fix it. And you got to make that shift in your mind. I don't want you to be upset emotionally with it being bad. I just want you to say, this has got to change. And I'm going to call this some time, urgency, and prioritization. You need to have much more time, urgency, and prioritization. I talk to so many people that let's say they're married. Let's say they're even married and they're like in their 30s, but they got married young and they got a couple of kids and they're broke and they don't have any prospects to fix that. And they already are not making a priority. There's no urgency. And then I talk to the similar type of situation, that same couple, let's say, I'm not actually talking to them, but let's say another couple just like them, but now they're in their 50s or their 60s, and it's going to be really much harder to fix the problem. I mean, I don't know what to do. I use metaphors like run around like your hair's on fire. I mean, I don't know what else to say to you guys. You've got to make this more urgent. I know how fun it is at a young age to go out there and have fun and where the priority is. But I promise you, as a 62, going to be 63 on Thursday, all right, I want to have fun now too. And I promise you this. All the fun you have at the expense of prioritizing what you need to prioritize in your 20s and 30s, that might be 10 years of fun, is going to cost you 40 years of fun later. or 30 years of fun later because you did not prioritize. Give up the 10 to get the 30 or 40 or 50. Do you understand what I'm saying? In other words, kill it until you're 40. I mean, hit it hard into your 30s. I mean, some of you, if you figure it out, can really get it all done quickly. Where your money is not a problem and you can do what you want to do and need to do and not have to worry about money. Some of you are like, why do you always focus on money? Because don't you always focus on money? Isn't that 99% of the time the problem? It's either your health or your wealth. Okay? At what point are you going to say, I can't tolerate this anymore, I have to fix it? Now, I'm not picking on you guys that are our seniors who are getting to a place where it's not really that easy to fix. I'm trying to really light the fire in those of you that are younger. And by younger, I don't mean necessarily that young. Look, you could be 60 and be younger, okay? I'm very vital and energetic at 63. I outmoved all the young people on the boat on the cruise we went on, okay? And so since I intend to be 150, okay, if you laugh at that, fine. I intend to, like most people, get at least into my 90s. I want to make sure that I'm able to enjoy every bit of that, okay? And if I've got to worry about money, it's going to make it harder for me to worry about health. And by the way, if you're worrying about health, even if you're doing naturopathic type stuff, healthy, whatever stuff, versus like traditional medications and things, that stuff's ain't cheap. You know, I don't even know what I spend every month on supplements, but I'm sure it's quite a little bit. But wouldn't it be nice not to have to worry about how much it is? And have to decide whether I need to take this one or that one because I can't take all of them because they're too much. And some of you are like, well, I'm only in my 30s. I mean, why do I need to worry about that? Because you're going to be 50 someday and 60 someday. And you don't get it now. And you'll have missed the opportunity. You know, Elder and I were talking about, you know, one of the things we might need to talk to young people about is this. You guys who are all single, oh, you want to get married? What are you bringing to that? Are you ready for that? Because you need two things to be ready for that. You need to be healthy financially, and you need to be healthy psycho-emotionally. Most of you are neither. I'm not picking on anybody. I only come up here to speak the red pill, right? The truth. Oh, I just want to meet somebody and get married. And I work at a factory, and I make $15, $25 an hour, or whatever it is. I can barely take care of myself. I'm not picking on the guys that do that. That's a starting point. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's got to be looked at as a starting point. It has to be looked at a place you're trying hard to get away from quickly. Not away from it sideways. Up. Okay? You're making 25 in the factory, you need to be aiming at 30 to 40 somewhere else, and then 50 to 60 somewhere else. Some of you are like, wow. Look, if you realistically look at what it takes to enjoy life, I mean enjoy life. I don't mean like go out there and be crazy extravagant. I mean just enjoy life, where you're not stressing over paying bills and whether you can afford just some basic levels of enjoyment, lifestyle. You're going to need to make probably at least your age to age and a half per hour. When you're 50 years old, you're going to need that money to be there, okay? Because you think, oh, I'm taking care of myself pretty good, single at 25 an hour. Yeah, add a wife and 3 kids, see how you do. Not going to be so good. You know, then you want to buy a house. Well, good luck with that. Okay? Okay, there has to be urgency. I don't know how else to say this because I'm already here. I wish I'd been more urgent. And I'm doing okay. But I wish I had been more urgent. And I still felt like I was hitting it as hard as I could along the way. But I probably could have done more. And so how hard are you hitting this? And by the way, it's not going to be fun or easy to do it. Okay? Are you willing to pay the price? You're going to pay the price either way. Life's going to suck short term while you're trying to make it happen, or life's going to suck long term because you didn't make it happen. I'm just being blunt and honest. Okay? And maybe you needed somebody in your life, and that's why the room is empty most of the time, because people don't want to hear the truth. The truth is you still can do it. Oh, you should listen to the guys I listen to. They are blunt. They use language you wouldn't like, and it's all about how real and hard it is to do what needs to get done, but you need to get it done. And being willing, that's why there's a big gap between some of the more wealthy and some of the more poor. It's not that they all just woke up with a silver spoon in their mouth. They paid a price you weren't willing to pay. They were focused. They were obsessed. They put in hours you're not willing to think about doing. They didn't sit at home watching TV or doom scrolling through their phones for hours and hours and hours on social media, whatever. They were out there hitting it all the time. My wife will tell you. We went to dinner tonight, okay? A couple of her and a couple of other people, we just went out to dinner, just a very casual place. I had already eaten, so you know what I did? I showed up with my laptop. I was looking at what I'm doing to try to do other things while we're eating. That might be rude to some of you, but that's just, I'm that obsessed with it, okay? And some of you are like, why? Because I want 60 to whatever to be great without the stress. Don't you? But you have to get there. So I wrote some things that were inspired actually by Elder's little teaching. I shouldn't say little. The teaching he did, this two-part thing. So here's part of what you need to do what I'm talking about. You know, he talked about knowing him. So I'll start with knowing him, because if you knew him, you knew he created you to be successful. He created you and gave you all that you need to be successful. He didn't lay it all in your hands so that you wouldn't have to put any effort to be successful. But you have what you need. And you can do it. And when I say you have what you need, that doesn't mean you have it right this second. You have the ability to go find it. It's available. You know what? You don't have to go to a library. You don't have to go and find somebody out there that's just willing to share some secret information. It's all out there, easily accessible and free. I can't tell you how disappointing I'll use. Instead of, I was going to say how frustrating and everything, how disappointing it is when you guys call and you know you have an issue, and then you act like you don't know what to do to deal with it. I said, I don't know. How about looking it up? Okay? If you have a trouble, well, you know, I'm being taken advantage of at work. So look up how to be more assertive. Look how to grow a spine. Oh, I'm having trouble with this or that. Learn how to set boundaries. Learn how to figure it out. Maybe you're having trouble with people. Read the first and foremost book on that, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Okay? I mean, there's stuff that you could do. It's all out there, and you don't need me to tell you, although if you have the Level Up class, you have a book list. Okay, you have mentors, book people. I give you a list of people you could and should look up and consider listening to their stuff or reading their stuff or watching their stuff. You know? Somebody asked the other day, hey, have you heard of this book, Think and Grow Rich? It's the first book on the book list. I haven't looked at the book list in a long time, but I'm pretty sure I put it right there first. Okay? But did you ever read it? Okay, if you're trying to be successful, you definitely should have read it. It's where everybody else will tell you to start. Because how you think is going to affect your wealth. Okay, it all starts up here. So now I'm going to get in the rest of the things, Elder, that I was inspired to say. Knowing him is the beginning. How about, this is really going to where it hurts. Do you know you? Knowing you. Like in the way he was talking about knowing him. Like in a real, honest, and open, like paying attention to him like you're supposed to see and understand him through what you can. Are you paying attention to understanding you? Do you know you? So you're not going to go anywhere until you know you. Well, I don't really feel like doing this. Well, that's you. You got to know that that's your personality and that's your go-to answer. So you got to find a solution to that. Well, I don't know. That sounds real hard. I don't know, but it didn't work in 5 minutes, so it doesn't work. You know, some of you are familiar with my 7x7 card. We got them on the counseling table in the other building. I went to go give that to somebody once, and they said, that doesn't work. I said, what are you talking about? Oh, I did that once. I said, please explain to me how you did that. And so they did it for like 3 days and, they didn't do what you're supposed to do with it. Of course it doesn't work if you don't do it the way it's designed to do. By the way, everything in Scripture doesn't work either unless you do it the way it's designed to do. With all your heart, with all your might, with all your being is how it's designed to do. So you got to start off with knowing you. You might know him all you want. If you still don't know you, you're not going to get you in line with him. Because you're trying to line up two things together. And you got to know which one has to adjust to which one. So you got to know him, then you got to know you and figure out what adjusting you have to do. Does that make any sense? For the next 30 days, I want you guys really focusing on this. Right? That's your Rosh Chodesh assignment. Take it to the next level. You think you know you? Fine. Do you know your spouse? Those two need to align. They're not going to align unless you know them and they know you. And you know you and they know themselves. That's where the expectations exercise kind of comes into play, and the colors, from the personality test, and the cognitive functions, and the love languages. It's all about knowing yourself and then knowing the other person. Knowing them, not informationally, like relationally, like you know them. But a lot of you are not honest with yourselves, so you don't really know you. What about knowing your children? Any kind of relationship you can have, you got to know them, which means that you have to adjust to them. They have to adjust to you. You have to align with them. If you're going to get anywhere, relationships are alignments. And if there's no alignment, there's no relationship. Does that make any sense? So some of you have no relationship with somebody in your family because you have no alignment. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, meaning like somebody did something bad. Okay, I've got 2 brothers I hardly ever talk to where nobody's mad at each other. We just don't align on anything. So guess what? My brother's birthday was yesterday. I texted him, and he said he's going to text me Thursday when it's my birthday. And that will be our whole conversation for a year. A text that said happy birthday. Is that terrible? No. He doesn't mind. I don't mind. Nobody cares. Nobody minds. We don't align on things. Okay? Not in some horrible, antagonistic way. We just have nothing to align on. We don't have a reason to have more than a relationship except the fact that we were born by the same parents. Okay? If we had things in common and things to align with, we might have a close relationship. Again, this is a knowing problem, right? But you got to know you and you got to know the other person and think about the alignments or lack thereof that's going on, is why the status of your relationship is what it is. Okay? How about knowing your friends? Some of you are frustrated with friends and your friendships. Well, I don't know, so-and-so seems to be doing better with that person, but they don't talk to me anymore. Well, alignments, not knowing you, not knowing them, and not adjusting. Okay, you want something that you're not naturally aligned with, there has to be an adjustment by one or both to make it align. Marriages don't work over a long time, mostly because over a long time, everything that doesn't align becomes more and more obvious and more problematic. I was watching a divorce attorney on a TikTok, and he said 56% of marriages end in divorce, and he believes with the ones that wish they would get divorced, that are miserable in their marriages, and they just, for whatever reason, can't seem to pull the trigger because of children or this or whatever it is, adds up to at least, he said, another 20%. So this thing called marriage has a 76%, well, let's put it this way, the other way, has a 24% happy result. And by the way, I think that's even smaller. I think a lot of the 24, if not all of it, is people that came out of the other zone and figured it out. And some of you are like, what? Because I think it's brutal for people to know themselves, know the other person, and then make adjustments so that you align. Because that means you don't get to have everything in the world be what you want. You expect the other person to naturally align. That's why I have you do these things so you learn that they don't. I mean, if you're red and they're yellow or blue or white and you're red and whatever colors are and you guys don't match up, you see the world differently. Your cognitive functions, you deal with information differently. Your love languages, you deal with love differently. Your expectations, they don't line up. There was enough that lined up that you were attracted, and enjoy it enough to go ahead and say, hey, I'd like to do this for forever, so to speak, right? I'd like to go, let's make this permanent. And then reality kicked in when you actually lived with each other 24/7. And then you saw all the ways that you don't align. Because you assume naturally all the things that you see the world, the lens you see it through would always be the same that they do. And it doesn't. So you have to bring things into alignment. You and him, you and whoever it is, everything has to be an aligning thing. There's only one unique difference in all of those, which is when it's you and him. He's right, you're wrong, you have to align with him. He's not going to align with you. Everybody else, you have to mutually adjust to each other. There has to be give and take. You have to decide, this thing that we're fighting about, let's align on it. This other thing, let's align on it. This other thing, let's align on it. Oh, the next thing you know, you got all this alignment. Now you got a great relationship. Okay? Anybody in a marriage, you don't have to raise your hand, but anybody in a marriage where sometimes we're great, other times we want to kill each other. You know why that is? Sometimes you align. Then something comes up that you don't align on, and now you're not so great. So when the stuff that you align on is what's going on, everything seems great. Then as soon as that other thing pops up that you don't, it goes to you know where. Okay? It goes right in the thing. Right in the garbage, right? Okay? And it's all about alignment. And what happens is you pretend that you think you know the other person, but you don't. Because you get all upset when they do something you should absolutely know that's what they do. Because you should know them. And then when you do something, they flip out. When it's something you always do, well, they should know you. That's what you do. So now you can either choose to stay or not. And if you choose to stay, then you really should try to figure out how to work through developing alignment. All right? But do you know you, your spouse, your children, your friends? Now, let's take this to a different level, a deeper level. Knowing doesn't automatically mean understanding. Can you figure out, can you seek to understand them? I don't mean agree with them. They're doing A, B, or C, and you don't like it, it irritates you, it doesn't align with you. But have you made an effort to understand why they do it that way, or respond that way, or don't align with you? So that you get to then know them better? There's verses that talk about dwelling with understanding. Everybody loves to use that as a weapon against the other person. Well, you're supposed to dwell with me with understanding. Both sides are supposed to understand each other. But you don't understand each other, you don't even understand you. You don't know you. That's really where the problem comes down to. I mean, are you going to make the effort? Look, I only bring it real, right? You want real, this is real. And I think that anything that you have relationship-wise, whether it's with him, even with yourself, some of you are miserable in your own skin because you don't know you. And you don't recognize that you can adjust you so that you can be more aligned inside of yourself. Some of you aren't even aligned internally. You're totally conflicted inside. You want A, but you're completely afraid to do A. Or there's some other thing that completely is the opposite of what you want. I'd like to be more wealthy, but wealth is evil. That's a conflict internally. You're not going to get wealthy if you think it's evil. I'd like to have more money, but money's evil. Well, no. I've had more money and less money in my life. I don't think things happened when I had more money that was more evil. I've often said that having more money just gives you the opportunity at whatever you are to expand. If you're good, you'll do more good with it. If you're not, you'll do more what's not good with it. Okay, it's not the money that's the problem. It's you. That could be the problem or not, right? It's how you handle it. Just like people say, well, if I chase money, I don't want you to chase money. I want you to figure out how to have enough of it to have the life you want. Okay, I don't think you should have unlimited amounts that are beyond what you need. Figure out how much you need to have the lifestyle you want and go find a way to get that. Okay? I don't think anybody needs billions of dollars to live their lifestyle. Maybe they want that if they want to make things that will help other people that cost billions to build and to make and whatever and develop. But for a personal lifestyle, you don't need that much, but it's probably more than you have now. It's just a matter of deciding what your lifestyle is that you'd like to have, okay? Because let me tell you something. It's really, I'm thinking for some of you, a big slap in the face. That at some point when you were younger, you kept thinking, oh, I can't wait one day and I retire and I'm going to travel and I'm going to see the world. And then you get to be 60 and realize that's not happening. It never happened. I got too busy with life and too busy struggling and I never got there, and now I don't have any money to do it. That's why I want you to have the time urgency. And I will also call it prioritization. You must make these things a priority. By the same token, we'll go into two other areas. If you don't work on your health when you're young, that will accumulate and bust you up when you get older. That stuff accumulates. You know, Yah made us incredibly. And for the most part, we're incredibly durable and resilient physically, right? And we can take a beating and keep on ticking, so to speak, for some of you old enough for that commercial for Timex. All right, but it accumulates. It adds up, you know. I remember being a teenager and eating a whole pizza pie by myself and then running around like a crazy person and having no problem with any of that. Chugging 2-liter bottles of Coke and whatever. Just junk. But my body handled it then, won't handle it now. But if you got aches and pains and all kinds of stuff going on, some of that is because of what you did for the last 30 years till you got there, from 30 to 60, okay? So you should make your health and your health habits a priority now. I don't care how old you are. Whatever age you are, you can get better. Okay, whatever age you are, your finances get better, your health can get better. Every area of the 7 areas can get better. And the last one of the 3 is your mental health. I'm sorry, but all of you need therapy. I can't get as high pitched as you did it, but therapy. All of you need it. I am not trying to be insulting. You can go do this yourself. You can go get books and videos and everything else and go watch it, but you need therapy. You're all screwed up. And because you can't help but be screwed up. We're living in generationally world of generation after generation of things designed to screw you up emotionally and psychologically. There's no way you're not screwed up. Don't blame the trauma and the drama. Fix it. Find out how to fix it. But you are not capable of dealing with the other things in your life, especially the relationships, if you can't get your psycho-emotional stuff regulated, handled, and functioning at a reasonable level. Meaning, seriously, that you can be a reasonable person. Because when it's not working, you're not reasonable or functional. You have to do this. All your relationships are suffering because you stubbornly you don't want to see yourself as having some sort of an issue. You have an issue. Okay, I don't care who you are. I have issues, you have issues. Of course, you're like, of course we know you have issues. But you can say it about everybody, and everybody can say it about you. You have issues. Okay? No stigma in working on yourself anymore. No stigma getting therapy. Some of you need actual professional therapy, but you're embarrassed, you're ashamed, you're whatever it is, whatever. Get over it, or you're never going to have the things you want that require you to be mentally and emotionally stable. And hopefully even thriving. But if your head's all screwed up, you're not going to do anything very well. Certainly your relationships won't. But you're going to have to be willing to go out there and get the help. Sadly, I talk to a lot of people that they give it lip service, but then when I talk to them, they never do it. Okay? And if you don't want to go to someone, fine. Go get the stuff that you can get in books, YouTube videos, courses, whatever. There's stuff out there that you can find. I recommend stuff to people all the time. And you know what? Sometimes they go and do it and it helps. Sometimes, most of the time, they don't. And I say to them, did you listen to the book? Did you watch the video? Did you do that? No. You know why? Because they're unwilling to own their lives. You need to own that you're exactly where you belong in life. Oh, I don't deserve this. Yes, you do. I'm not saying you deserve everything that ever happened to you. You still deserve and have earned being exactly where you are right now because of all the choices you made up to this point. I don't care how horrible, tragic, whatever happened to you when you were younger, you've had time to fix that. You've had time to overcome that. You've had time to redirect your heart, your mind, your emotions, your mental issues or whatever, your physical issues, and make it work. Stop blaming all that stuff. The government's not your problem. The way your parents raised you is not your problem. You know, whatever happened in college is not the problem. It was a problem. But you had lots of time to overcome that problem. You know, a lot of the really successful people, when you listen to them, you find out that they got successful and then lost it all multiple times. And they could have said when they lost it the first time or the second time, well, you know, I guess I'm just no good or this or that or whatever. But they just picked themselves up, brushed themselves off, and said, okay, here we go. Do it again. Learn some lessons. But you got to start by owning this is your life. You know? It's your life, and you have authority over that life. Okay? You have authority over your choices in that life. That's your authority. Oh, no, I don't have authority. He has all this. No, you have authority. That's why sometimes you listen to him and sometimes you don't. Because you do wield that authority. Okay? So this month, this new moon, let's focus on being more urgent with our time, prioritizing the use of that time. Learn to know you and understand you. Let's just do that first. Forget about your spouse, your children, your friends. Let's start with really focusing on, do you know you? And then realize whatever that looks like, you can redesign it into anything. You can redesign it into anything. My standing here right now, doing what I'm doing with you, especially on Rosh Chodesh, when I get to talk about this sort of personal development stuff, I worked towards this moment since I was 13. As soon as I saw Tony Robbins doing this, I guess I was more like 18 at that point. Tony's only a few years older than me. But when I first saw him doing it in his 20s, I knew I wanted to do the same thing. I wanted to get in front of people and impact them in a powerfully positive way. Give them tools. Encourage them that they can be impacted in a powerful way, that they could choose to impact their own lives powerfully. And I'm standing up here doing that because that was something I decided to create. I created this me. I wasn't this me back then. But over a period of time, 50 years, I created this me. I'm not done with it. It's far from perfect as far as the version of me I want to be, right? But I created this me. And trust me, it wasn't easy. I don't mean not easy just because I was hard to work with. I mean, it was hard to go through life and work on me at the same time and all the other things I had to do. You know, we didn't always own a building. This is a long time in coming, working towards owning a building that we could sit in and have exactly what we wanted to have for something like this. Okay, but what you hear from me, I've put in thousands and thousands of hours to be able to share what I just shared with you. Okay? Listening to, reading, watching other teachers teach other things about development. I mean, tens of thousands of hours in the last 50 years. Started when I was about 13. It's about 50 years. And that all gets into being now the person who could just start talking like this. Think about what you could do if you would just put the time in. Okay? And again, you ask my wife. I put stuff in every single day. Okay? Except Shabbat. But Shabbat I'm putting something in anyway because the scriptures is all this. I don't feel like I've arrived. I'm studying like I did when I started. Actually, I'm studying better because now I have a better foundation to understand what I'm studying. So now I'm ready to learn. Okay? You guys can do this. More importantly, you need to do it. For your own peace and joy, you need to do this. For your health, for your relationships, all of them, including yours with him, you need to do this. He put you here to live a life, not to just be existing. Don't just exist. Live. Live. Amen? Amen. All right. If you want to come up and give some feedback to that or share something or whatever, you're welcome to come up here. As Shamash Evans coming to grab the mic, so he'll have it ready for you. Look, I mean, I want you to say, tomorrow I wake up and I'm like, my hair's on fire. I'm ready to go. Okay? Now, I'm not saying if you're older and life's already where you need it to be, that's fine. I'm talking about especially to you guys that are, say, 50 and under, that you're not where you need to be, okay? Especially those of you that are 30 and under or 40 and under. Come on, guys. I want to be like the coach like I used to be in the gym. I was a personal trainer. Come on now. One more. Let's go. Come on. You can do it. All right? All right, Janet.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome.
So you were talking about alignment, right? So I was just looking up exactly what that means. But the first thing that came to mind when you were saying alignment to me was agreement. Mm-hmm. And then I was looking more like in a marriage, what alignment.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
Sorry, you just said something and it gave me an inspiration.
Okay.
So imagine you have two pieces like wooden blocks that if you were to look at them and line them up, they would interlock perfectly, right? Mm-hmm. Now imagine you have a pile of blocks and you pick one up with your one hand and the other up with the other hand, and there's only one that matches each of those. Like the other blocks won't match. That one block only has one in the other pile that matches it. Yeah. Now imagine you can see the one block you picked up. That's the other person, but you don't even know you. So you're blindly picking at a block in your pile. Or what if it's the other way around? The same thing. You really don't know them. You're not going to align blindly. It's like literally with your eyes closed, hoping randomly I'm going to pick two blocks and they're going to fit. Okay? You have to have your eyes open. And when your eyes open, it's easy. I see them, I understand them, I know them, I see me, I understand me, I can adjust it and make it fit. Does that make any sense? All right, hopefully that worked for somebody. Go ahead.
No, it does. Nice. It's a nice metaphor. Okay, so when I was looking up what does alignment in marriage looks like, right? And so it says it's a shared vision, goals, and core values that keep a couple moving in the same direction. So it doesn't mean necessarily it being the same or having identical personalities, but being
all right, I didn't give
unified.
you that. Hold on. I didn't give you that definition.
I know. I'm just...
No, wait, because, I mean, that definition is good, but I'm talking about aligning on who takes out the garbage, aligning on what we do for fun. It's not necessarily a core values thing or any other thing or a beliefs thing. It's just things that you have to just align in. Everything. You know, can we align on where we want to go to eat? Can we align on what we do with our free time? Can we align on where we want to live? What kind of house we want to live in? I mean, it's not just core values, beliefs, and all these things that sound so wonderful. It's everything. Because you're not going to fight about core values and beliefs. You're going to fight about all the stupid garbage that you don't align on. Okay? Does that make sense to anybody? Because you're going to marry somebody that generally you have the same core values and beliefs with. If you don't, that thing doesn't last very long anyway. All right? But it's because you fight over the things that other people say, this is so stupid. We fight over the dumbest things. It's because you're not aligning in them, though. All right? Go ahead.
So when you say alignment, you mean really agreement?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So it's even agreeing on how you talk to each other. Mm-hmm. Agreement on how you resolve a conflict, right? Agreement on how you make decisions. Agreement in the daily stuff that couples fight about. Okay, that's good. you were also talking about everybody needs therapy.
And by the way, I didn't mean to interrupt you on your list. Your list is good, but I didn't want that to be missing the point, okay? Because most people go to that list. I'm not talking about that list. That list, I assume, is already there. Or you wouldn't be, together, okay? Because if you have core values issues, that marriage is going to have a problem very quickly, all right? But if you have these other little things, like, oh my gosh, we can't eat at this, we can't even agree on a movie, we can't agree on food, we can't agree on whatever, that's the little fights that's just going to wreck everything, okay? Go ahead.
Yeah. And I randomly look at the list to make sure that I was getting what you were getting. What I got was agreement, which is really what really was. Okay. So we were talking about therapy, right? And we all need therapy, which 100% I agree. I've been to therapy many times, and now I started a few months back. And I've noticed a huge change with myself, in with my marriage. I mean, a lot of things are just getting better and better. So I'm all for it. I think it's awesome. I think it's great that we can look at ourselves and really figure out where are these triggers coming from, right? What else is there, and find ways to deal and to overcome, all these negative patterns and negative thinking and thinking patterns and beliefs and so forth, and truly have a transformation from within. And a lot of times people don't really know who they are, but through therapy you can actually go back to who you really are, that perhaps you forgot yourself in the process of life. But I think it's just very transformational to go to therapy. So I'm all for it, and I appreciate that you're encouraging us to do that. Thank you.
Well, good. Well, look, there's Alcoholics Anonymous for people that have a problem with alcohol, right? There's NA for people that have a problem with drugs and narcotics. But what about those of you that have pride issues? How are you going to go get therapy when you can't even admit you have a problem? Where you're unwilling to look at yourself and openly, with being vulnerable, be able to say, I'm not perfect. I am a mess, and I need help. To be able to go admit that, not just to yourself, but to somebody else, and say, you know what, I need help, okay? And instead, you're too ashamed, too embarrassed. But it's not just you. It is literally everybody, okay? Everybody you're walking around is broken, damaged, and wounded. Everybody. Oh, but I came from a broken home. So did everybody else. Well, I came from everybody else. Everybody came from not perfect situations, okay? Everybody. So let's stop and get over that so that we're able to willing to go to get the help we need. And again, I'm not saying you can't get some of it or even a lot of it yourself, but it probably only can get you so far without mentoring. It's the same thing where I teach you for things like finance and health and everything, that you should have somebody that can help you assess yourself and come up with a program and help you develop a program on how to go from where you are to where you want to be in that area, right? In the Level Up class, I talk about getting guidance, advice, mentorship in whatever it is you're doing. And so that also includes your psycho-emotional health. Going to somebody like a Janet or whoever that's out there who can help you walk through and figure things out. And it's not always about, let's go dig out this trauma from the past and just fix it. How about at least having you be able to get to the point where you realize that's not happening anymore, okay? And stop blaming it, even though it happened 35 years ago. And, coming to some sort of reality check. I've done that with people. I'm not a therapist, but as a ministry person, we're allowed to do that stuff. And I think I do it actually, fairly well, all things considered. But the thing is, I'm not going to sit there and try to unravel your trauma. I'm going to help you understand it's not happening now. There's no reason to keep reliving it, okay? And so, but you still may I may recommend that you go to professional therapist for whatever it is you went through. I was raped as a child. Go to therapists that deal with people that were raped as children. I had parents that beat me up. Okay, go to a therapist that deals with people that had parents that beat them up. Whatever it was, there are therapists that deal with that. Go get that dealt with. Now, bear in mind, some of them are terrible. You may have to go to more than one till you find one that works with you. Again, it's alignment stuff, right? The one therapist trying to do A and you're kind of wanting B and you guys are not. So find one that works with you, that you connect with and you feel like you can get somewhere with. You may have to try a few. Okay? It happens sometimes. All right? Okay, Rabbi Tom.
Shalom, Rabbi.
Shalom.
Earlier you mentioned Think and Grow Rich, I think, by Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill.
Well, recently I read Atomic Habits and Psychology of Money by Housel. But are there any other books that you recommend to follow up on those? 2 or 3 other books?
Look at the book list I put in the Level Up class. It's a PDF there. You can look at the
Oh,
book
okay,
list.
yeah.
Look at the book list. There's lots of books I could recommend. It just depends on which area you're looking to. Because, I mean, think about it. Think and Grow Rich is not addressing the same thing as Atomic Habits. It's not addressing the same thing. Like you named a couple of books that are not all addressing the same thing. Okay? They're addressing aspects of stuff.
Right.
And so it depends on what aspect of development do you want to focus on. Because I think the most useful books are the ones that are not generalist books, but specific. Okay?
Right.
You want maybe something that's generalist, go listen to, oh man, I forgot. The guy who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. Okay, he also wrote a book that basically was about, how to go from where you are to where you want to be, and I forget the name of the book, but anyway, it's in the list. Okay. Yeah, Jack Canfield. Okay, so, but I'm just saying is that's a very, very large book, and it covers everything. There are some like that. Okay, but if you're wanting to deal with habits, Atomic Habits is a good book. Okay, yeah. If you're wanting to deal with time management, 4-hour work week guy's a good guy. There are other people out there that have to do with dealing with your time and maximizing your time. There's so many books that are specific. You have boundaries issues. Atomic Habits isn't going to necessarily help you. Neither is Think and Grow Rich. You're going to need to go listen to a book on boundaries. Okay, so whatever it is that your issue is, try to find somebody that deals with that topic. I give you some books in a list that have helped me, that are on my bookshelf. I just went in my bookshelf and wrote them down and put them on the list, okay? So, and there are lots of books that aren't on my bookshelf that I've given away or lost over the years that I tried to remember some of them to put on there as well, okay? But it really has to do with, if you know specifically an area you want to, more work with, maybe I would remember something that could work for there, okay?
All right, well, thank you, I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, let me ask you guys a question. 'Cause I was mentioning about maybe having to go to deal with multiple different therapists before you find a good one. How many of you have changed hairstylists more than once because they just didn't do it the way you wanted until you could find someone that understood what you were looking for? Probably many of you, okay? All right, so I'm saying that's the kind of thing that goes with everything, including a therapist. You're going to have to find someone that you kind of feel comfortable with and they kind of understand what you're looking to do. But you're still going to have to spend. Here's the hard part. It costs money. And you're not going to want to spend the money. Well, that's because you have a money problem. Fix the money problem, and all these other things are easier to do. You'll have money to spend on your health, money to spend on your psycho-emotional stuff, money to spend on all these other things that you need to spend money on. You'll have the money for it. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to say, to somebody says to you, you know what, you really need to take this supplement. It's really going to help with this hormonal thing that you're doing, whatever. And they go, it's going to run you about $100 a month. And you're like, oh, no. I can't do $100 a month. Well, wouldn't it be great if you could? And just say, oh, that sounds good to me. I got that, Look, one of the reasons why I started doing some of my wealth development things like with the trading is like it was very exciting that I could go on a trip and I can make enough money on the trip to pay for the trip. That's pretty cool. You could develop passive income where wherever you go, you're making money while you're there, and so it pays for things when you're not even, it's passive. Whether it's rental properties or dividend income from stocks or some other thing that you might have that gives you passive income. There's ways to develop these things. One of the things that Robert Kiyosaki said in the Rich Dad, Poor Dad books, there's books you should be listening to or reading. I do a lot of stuff on Audible, so I always say listen to. This Kiyosaki's wife once said to him, he wanted to buy a new car. She said, fine, go get an asset that makes you enough to pay for the car. That's a brilliant way to look at things. Let's see, the car is going to cost me $300 a month for the car, so go get yourself an asset that makes you $300 a month. Because that's the definition of an asset, by the way, something that makes you money every month. Okay? Your house isn't an asset because it doesn't make you any money. You put money into it. Okay, Kiyosaki's one of the first guys I ever heard say, I'm sorry, but your house is not an asset. Everybody else in the financial world will say, your house is your number one asset. It's not an asset, it's a liability. Okay? Your house. Other houses could be assets that you own, but your house is not. It doesn't make you any money. Okay? Now, unless you're going to live in a duplex or a quad or something and you're living in one and renting the other pieces of it, well, then it can make you some money. But that's the whole point, is that you guys need to be thinking about some of the things I want to do in life. What if I built something that can make the money I need to do that pays for that? Wouldn't that be a cool place to be? It's doable. It's very doable. All right, Chris.
Hi, Rabbi.
Hey.
I really liked what you were saying about your health and the decades of exposures or whatever things that accumulate
Sure.
and get you to that point where you finally are getting symptoms. I think I was really, really blessed in a way, even though I'm not out of it yet, but I started having those symptoms of, it's different for everybody, but you start breaking down. I had that issue starting when I was like 17, and from that point, I didn't know what to do, and it took a long time, but I think it's better that I realized it then, and I started working on it. I'm still working on it, but figuring out what to do and making it a priority versus the kind of the slow progression that a lot of people go through in their 40s, 50s, 60s. And I see it all the time when people are like, oh, I have this issue and then that issue. And it just kind of becomes a slow demise over time. And it's so many decades that could be much more vigorous and what they could be doing, but they're not aware, I guess, and it's very slow, and because the world today much more toxic than it was 40, 50 years ago, just with the amount of pesticides and other exposures, heavy metals, everything.
And yet we live longer because there are other things that are also factors in there, right?
Yeah, I think the life expectancy has, for the first time, gone down since the peak, I think, for the U.S.
Right, but most of us are finding people living in their 80s and 90s when that was not really very common. You know, you go back a little ways. I'm just saying that, you know, there are some things that are happening. Okay, but listen, the thing that Chris is pointing out, which is super important, and I wrote it down for myself just so I wouldn't forget, do what you do, whether it's eating, working, whatever, with intentionality and awareness. Okay, a lot of you just eat. No, eat with intentionality. Be intentional about your eating, and then be aware of how your body reacts. Do you understand? Lately, I've noticed that certain things I'm eating, and I haven't figured out what it is yet, makes me very tired. And that'll happen for about 2 hours, and I'll be fine. I'm thinking it's a carbs thing, okay? But I'm trying to, you know, be aware when you eat. Do you get bloated? Do you feel good? Do you feel energized? Do you feel tired? Do you feel cranky? Do you feel, what does what you put in, how does it affect you? Okay, be intentional and aware when you go to doom scroll on your phone or watch something on the TV. Be aware of what you're doing and do it intentionally, not just randomly because you just happen to walk in the house, sit down, and turn on the TV. If you're going to turn on the TV and sit down, do it because you made a decision. I'm going to sit down for this amount of time and watch whatever, and do it with intention and be aware of that you made the decision and that you decided to do that instead of something else, and that's okay, provided you did it with some purpose. You had some awareness, all right? But we're doing so many things we do without any intentionality, without any awareness. And that's not working very well.
Yeah. Also, with people who they might look into like different toxins or things that are bad in the world as far as their health. It's easy to get overwhelmed with all the different chemicals and all the different things. I think cancer rates, they were saying, for the people living now are going to be 1 in 2 people getting cancer at some point in their lives, which is just crazy. And and I think it's good to be aware of all the things happening, but also there's really simple things you can do to lower your body burden over time, and tests and all that kind of stuff to manage and monitor it, and be proactive about just simple things that you can do. So
Right.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. All right, look. I'm going to let you know an example I learned a long, long, long time ago when I was in a physical profession, training class. And a teacher was teaching about stress. Okay, the teacher was teaching about stress and the immune system. All right, and I love the way he described it. Our system is able to handle beautifully all kinds of terrible things that can go on in your body up to a point. So we have this immune bucket, right? And this immune bucket, things can go in and they can flow out, and the bucket can handle all that stuff. Like it goes in there, no problem. By the way, all of you have cancer. It just doesn't manifest in a way that's problematic. We all have these things in our body that are dormant, and this and that and the other thing, okay? And things that, and you all get sick. You all get all kinds of either viruses or bacterial things on a regular basis. And for the most part, your system handles it, so you're not aware. Okay? You're not aware. Now, that bucket that can handle all of that, go ahead and add stress to your life, eat wrong, and all these other things that you can do. It shrinks the bucket, metaphorically. Okay? Now, it can overflow more easily. When it overflows, that's when you start getting symptoms. Okay? Because you don't realize how much, because people are like, well, I never get sick. Well, no, you probably do, and your body handles it. You're exposed to it like everybody else. Okay? I've been aware of getting something over the last year, and it lasted half a day, or my body sort of was a little off, and then it was gone. My body handled it, whatever it was. Okay? Because you're exposed to the stuff. It's not like you're immune to being exposed to it, but your body handles it. You're exposed to a lot of stuff all the time. And so it's a matter of, do you have the system? Now, do you take in the types of foods and vitamins and minerals that help with all of that? The antioxidants, et cetera? That would be also helpful, right? There's so many things you can do that helps make the bucket work better and be bigger. But there's also things we do that make it smaller. We eat a lot of stuff that's not great for our immune system. It weakens it. Okay, so I think I'm not here to preach specifics, because that's not the point. The point is you should go out there and figure out what things adversely affect your immune system, what things could you be doing that positively impact your immune system. Okay? I got a nurse in the back nodding, all right? And just being aware of those things. It's very important that you're aware. Awareness is really the key. And then doing things intentionally. I mean, my wife will tell you at times, I'll walk in and say, I'm just going to sit and do this right now. Need to just do nothing or whatever, and I'll just sit. And then she'll notice a few minutes later, or an hour, or whatever it is, I'll get up, I'm right back to work. I accomplished what I needed to in terms of needing to just sit or whatever, Do it intentionally. There's times when she'll say to me, I'm sorry, but I just need to just watch something or whatever. I'm like, if that's what you need, do it. It's your intention. You're aware that that's what you need, and don't apologize, And you know what? And then after she's done, she gets up and she goes back to doing something. But some of you forget that you're supposed to stop and get back to doing something. Okay? And just be aware. Increase the awareness. All right, John, who's back there? Harold? John's back there? All right,
it's me.
John, go ahead. What do you got?
We actually have nothing on the chat, Rabbi.
I just got crickets. I wish I had my phone and just play the cricket sound. All right, no problem. Good. That means that everybody got what they needed to out of this. I'm real excited about that. See, even the people on the live stream want you to get to dessert as fast as possible. There's food sitting over here, and you're just wanting to. And we're going to enjoy that food without you because you didn't move here yet. So when you move here, you'll get to enjoy it too. That's stuff everybody brings, and we have a nice time on Rosh Chodesh. So anyway, I hope that was a blessing to everyone. I hope you got something out of it. The next 30 days, let's get serious. Let's be aware. Let's be intentional. Let's level it up. Let's get to know ourselves better. Let's be more honest and open with ourselves and understand everybody around you. Seek to understand them, okay? Not seek to identify everything that irritates you. Seek to understand them. You automatically already do the other thing, but seek to understand them. I wonder why they do that all the time. It's not because they're doing it to irritate you. You're like, you just do that to irritate me. No, they don't, okay? They do it because it has something to do with who they are, okay? And so I think we need to increase that understanding. All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and close. Let's see. Elder, come up and close us. And Elder did a great job for 2 weeks giving us some teachings. So that I can be away without worrying about you guys being left, without that. So he did a good job. All right.
Abba, we come before you very humbly and thankful for all that you do. We thank you for this Rosh Chodesh, another time to start fresh if we haven't started already, and to continue with the words that our rabbi has given us, the words of life that would bring life if we would just do it. So we pray that you would continue to give us the strength, guidance, give our leadership the strength and guidance to give us all that we need to help us on this journey. We ask all these things in the name of Yeshua, our Messiah. Amen. Amen.
Amen. All right, I'm going to come down here. I'm going to come by you. Yeah. That's all right. They can see the empty seats. It's okay. Plenty of room for you guys. Come on down. All right. So we're going to connect over here with the camera Mr. Rippey here has, and we're going to just go ahead and wish everybody on the live stream a Rosh Chodesh Sameach, a Shavua Tov, a good week, and tell them that we love them. Here we go. On 3. 1, 2, 3.